Hello and welcome to Guild Wars 2 TinyBlueGames. I am Seesaw. I don't know if I've mentioned that much in other episodes now that I think of it. The character name I like to go by is Seesaw in many games, or Seashell, See something. Seesaw. Let's call it Seesaw. I am Seesaw and we're playing Guild Wars 2. We're going to talk about the new traits that released in the April 15th feature expansion pack, kind of. Lots of features were added. It was a big update, and we're going to look at the big change to traits and how they work. So, if you open your hero panel, you'll first off see that your equipment and wardrobe has changed, but we sort of addressed that in the previous video about PvP and the changes to that, which I'll link on the screen for those who haven't seen it. But right now, we're going to traits, which I just found. And now the first thing you're going to notice is that traits unlock at level 30. What? Well, that's crazy. Well, actually not really. The first sort of tier of traits unlocks at level 30. The next tier, I believe, is 60, and the final one only unlocks at 80. And they've done this to sort of give you a more in-depth experience growing your character in the sort of the last 50 levels, which could prove to be interesting, and also giving you the last tier at 80 to sort of give you something to work for, I guess. Now, I'm at a warrior trainer, as you can see here, and we're going to address how you go about getting traits. So you'll unlock that at level 30, obviously, but the new thing is that you have to buy traits from here for silver and for talent points. You can see that there's all 5 of the different sort of lines or whatever, paths, I guess. 5 different paths. And it goes for increasing amounts depending on if they are the green or the blue, or fine, I guess, or trade mass, or yellow. You can see that they get pretty pricey. The last one here, which we'll talk about in a second, is the new traits that are added to the game with this feature patch. But let's talk a little bit about the fact that these cost 10 silver, 50 silver, 1 gold, and some talent points. So it seems like things are going to cost more, but then we have to remember that we no longer have to pay for the books to unlock each tier of traits, and we also get to re-trade our character anywhere for free. Just by hitting a little button that you'll have there, like you did in PvP before. That system's been applied to PvE gameplay, which makes it pretty convenient for the most part. So I'm pretty okay with the trait system, and we'll talk about the new ones that are added because that's actually kind of the more exciting part for me. But we'll take one last quick look. We're trying to make this a quick-ish video because there's a bunch of other features that I'm going to cover in more videos, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's how you're going to buy traits now. Alright, well, I'll get to all the new ones. I'll just go look on a list for them on Guild Wars 2 Wiki so I can give you the actual stats and stuff associated with them. The ones that I'm talking about, of course, there's been one added to each path, the very last one. Each path, so 40 in total, because there's 5 times 8 different professions, gives you 40 new traits, and I'll show you what those are. Alright, so the following information I'm going to share with you guys is all on Guild Wars 2 Wiki. I will link the page in the video that you can look at all 40 new traits and sort of see what each one does in great detail. In case you want to read along with me or check out what traits interest you the most. I'm going to just share sort of the one trait per class that interests me the most, whereas each class is getting 5 new traits. I'll just share the 8 traits that I find the most interesting, so 1 per class. Alright, so let's take a quick look here. For Guardians, my favorite new trait that I think is going to change things a fair bit is the down the Radiance trait line, and it's Radiant Retaliation. Retaliation damage scales from condition damage instead of power. Scaling is increased too, is in brackets beside it. Now, I think this is very interesting for people who've been messing around with retaliation a fair bit in the past, and gives them a whole new aspect to conditions mixed with retaliation, like the burning and retaliation. And I think it'll be a very interesting thing to see what kind of guardian builds we get out of it. For warriors, I'm gonna say there's two that kind of interest me, but my top would have to be down the strength trait line, the trait burst precision. Burst skills have an increased chance to critically hit, which doesn't sound much different than a trait that was there before, but now the chance is 100%, which is pretty huge when you think of some of the burst skills that the warrior has at its disposal. Next, we're going to move to the engineer, and my favorite trait for the engineer was down the alchemy trait line, and it's experimental turrets, because I was super happy that they did something with turrets. I've been wanting them to, add some stuff for the turrets for a very long time. And experimental turrets makes it so that your turrets apply boons based on the turret used in a 600 radius around them every 10 seconds. So the thumper turret will add protection for 3 seconds, the net turret will add swiftness for 10 seconds, the rifle turret will add fury for 5 seconds, the healing turret will add vigor for 3 seconds, the rocket turret retaliation for 3 seconds, and the flame turret 3 stacks of might for 10 seconds. There's another trait for turrets in here, but I find that this one's kind of what I've been waiting for, like just a complete different way to use your turrets. So I'm pretty excited to see the kind of builds I can make with that. Rangers got another. They have, once again, two that I'm pretty excited about, but my top one has to be down the marksmanship trait line, and it's Read the Wind. Longbow and harpoon gun projectile velocity is increased by 100%. I'm really excited about this because I've always wanted to be sort of the ranger who's, the sniper or whatever like that. The guy from a distance that's just sniping down the enemy team. And I feel like this gets me one step closer to being able to be that kind of ranger. So I'm pretty excited about that and can't wait to try it out. The thief trait line, which one? The critical strikes trait line got invigorating precision. You are healed for a percentage critical strike damage dealt. So the current rate is you heal 5% of the critical strike damage you deal. So that's really huge for rogues that want to be sort of a survival rogue, which I generally play when I'm on a rogue. It does not proc on ambience, it's in brackets, so you can't, in World v World go and strike a bunny and heal full health just mid-combat. But I'm really excited to give that a try. Next we move to the Elementalist. And my absolute favorite trait for the Elementalist is in the water magic trait line, Aquatic Benevolence, and you're healing to other allies, in brackets not self, so they're pretty specific that it doesn't apply to you, is increased by 25%. 25%. That's huge considering that you can already increase stuff by a bit, and they have pretty good healing. This is going to make them a very, very viable support class in dungeons and in PvP for healing others, which I'm really happy that they get to go down that path a bit more. I've been waiting for changes like this for a long time, because I've always wanted to try the healing mage, and I'm sure that there'll be a video coming out about it in the near future. Next we move to the Mesmer, and my favorite Mesmer skill, and this is a little hard because I play a lot of different types of Mesmers, but I'd have to say that one of my favorite ones is going to be that your enemy is hit by shatter skills. That's all the shatter skills you can use, because I tend to shatter my clones quite often, are inflicted by torment. And this is also fun because I play condition Mesmers quite often. I think that this will just add to a huge amount of confusion. It'll cause chaos to everyone who's fighting fighting the Mesmer, which the Mesmers feed on chaos. So I can very well see how they get this. And finally, we're going to look at Necromancer, and my favorite one for them is down the Spite trait line, and it's Parasitic Contagion. A percentage of your condition damage heals you. In brackets it says 5% this is unaffected by healing power, but 5% is still huge if you're a condition necromancer. So 5% of your condition damage is going to heal you. That's huge. Great for surviving on a necromancer, and I'm going to be sure to try that out as well. So these are just 8 of the total of 40 traits that have been released into the game. Each one is a big change for each class, or each profession, rather. In the comments below, be sure to tell me what are your favorite traits, and what traits do you think are going to be overpowered, what traits do you think are going to be not very big. Let me know how you feel about it, and we'll discuss it in future videos. If you found this video informative, give it a like, of course. It always helps. And thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to like it. If you have a comment about it, or a suggestion for a future video, please leave one. If you have friends, share it. And finally, and most importantly, subscribe. Honestly, only one of these is red. Click it.